Hey everyone, movie fans, we are closing in on the 97th Academy Awards, which are taking place on March 2nd. And here we are, brand new FYC. We are live again with the amazing Perri Nemiroff and the mighty Jeff Snyder. And things sure have changed since the last episode of FYC. And just want to welcome everyone watching live. The last two times we did FYC live, we donated every one of the donations from our super chats to wildfire relief. And hot on the heels of last night's Fire 8 concert here in Los Angeles, we are going to do that again. So if you got super chats, bring them on, because we are donating the whole shebang to wildfire relief, because that is absolutely the right thing to do. So here we are. So for this episode of FYC, we are going to break down all 10 Best Picture nominees. We're going to say why they will win, why each one actually has a chance of winning, and why they don't. So without further ado, I think the movie to start off with here is the most nominated movie, Emilia Perez, with 13 nominations. That's just one nomination short of 14, which is the record holder that La La Land had, and Titanic, and I think All About Eve. Those three movies got 14 nominations. Emilia Perez has 13. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, Perri and Jeff, how did the most nominated movie of the year end up being the most hated? Let us count the ways. I'm going to start off with you, theinsnyder.com. What the fuck happened to Emilia Perez?
Adolf Hitler just had some interesting opinions. Yeah, that campaign, I mean, again, I don't think that it should. Carla Sofia Gascon's performance has not changed in the last few weeks. It's the same performance from Cannes. But yeah, her campaign is done. She will not win the Oscar after these tweets have been discovered. And frankly, I don't even blame her. I blame Netflix. How do you let this sit on the internet for months? Yeah. This is 100% on Netflix's awards team, and it's a self-inflicted injury.
I can't disagree with that. You know, when I think back to when I saw Emilia Perez for the first time at Telluride, I mean, I walked into that movie with just a little bit of expectations after hearing how well it did at Cannes. And I genuinely liked the film, but then since then, there's been so much backlash against the movie. Among other things, first, people were really coming down on Selena Gomez's accent, trying to her Spanish language was not good. Then there are the understandably bad Mexican and transphobic stereotypes, and now, you know, just in the last couple days, the tweets have surfaced that Carla Sofia Gascon, a nominee for Best Actress, made about 3 or 4 years ago on Twitter. And breaking news, I don't know if you guys saw this this morning, just before I signed on to do this FYC with the two of you, Carla Sofia Gascon deactivated her ex Twitter account.
We'll miss so many great tweets.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, you know, the amazing Perri Nemiroff. By the way, I cannot believe I did not see you at all at Sundance. Like, how is that possible?
Never saw you once. I only went into Eccles twice. That's probably why. And I sat in the balcony, and you sit close.
I sit close. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Be glad you didn't run into her. Look at her.
I know. I don't feel very well.
Well, even if Perri Nemiroff doesn't feel well, she looks amazing. It's not about how you look. It's not about how you feel in Hollywood.
You're right. No, she looks wonderful for someone who sounds like she should be in a hospital.
All right, Perri, you know, as best you can, what is your take on the controversy, the backlash? And I guess at this point, how will this affect not only Emilia Perez's chances for Best Picture, but how will the ripple effect affect someone like Zoe Saldana, who up to this point was a frontrunner, or one of the frontrunners, to win Supporting Actress?
I know that there could be a mentality that we need to separate everything from the quality of the work, the performance, the film overall, other categories, but that's just not how the human brain works. It's nothing on my side for what it's worth.
No, me neither. Yeah, no. Go ahead, Perry.
I do think that basically, I mean, it's kind of like what I've been saying for a while now. I do think that eventually all of this backlash was going to catch up to the film. And I think this was the tipping point that is going to push it over the edge. And it's really going to hurt its chances. I think obviously it's obliterated the film's chances in Best Actress. But I do think we're going to see a significant ripple effect into other categories, including Best Picture, where the movie has slipped significantly in my list. Like, I think it's in the bottom half for me at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you're going to see the effect, Perry, is that people who were going to have Emilia Perez maybe in their top 3 are now going to put it at the bottom of the list. And what that's going to do is allow another movie, possibly something like Anora, to capitalize on moving up the list maybe one more spot.
It's just really, really disappointing too, with such like a historic, important nomination that would make so many people feel seen especially right now in a really important way, that it's now seeing its weight like obliterated and distorted in a really upsetting way. I can't overstate how disappointed I am in how all of this has turned out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Perry. Up until I would say a week ago, going into the Oscar, the winners here, I feel like the Best Director was leaning towards Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. And, here you have Emilia Perez. It's the most nominated movie. And it won 4 Golden Globes, including Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, International Feature, Supporting Actress, and Original Song. And 11 BAFTA noms, nomination for the Producers Guild, SAG cast nomination. That's the other thing. Okay, you're talking about a SAG cast, an acting ensemble nom, which is the SAG equivalent of Best Picture. That's going to affect the movie's chances there as well. I mean, how does it not?
So one thing I'm going to be really curious to see in the next couple of weeks is Emilia Perez is probably going to win some CCA awards. I'm curious to see how they use that platform when the time comes, because that voting closed weeks ago.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Netflix and the filmmakers, I guess like make the most of that opportunity on the stage to, I guess, try to put a Band-Aid on all of this, but it feels like an unsealable wound at this point.
Go ahead, Jeff. You're going to say
I was just going to say, thrashed fingers. Don't spam our chat, okay? And I don't think that I haven't changed my opinion of Emilia Perez. It's the same opinion that I had before.
Right. I love the movie, and I understand the faults against the film, but we're talking about what's going to win now. And, this is going to have an effect on the winners. First of all, we're going into this particular episode of FYC. We're going to do what we usually do, which is say, okay, why is this movie going to win? Why is it not going to win? I think it's pretty obvious that the reasons why it might not win, but it was the jury prize winner and the ensemble cast winner at the Cannes Film Festival. Like I said, it won 4 Golden Globes. It has all these other nominations at all the other award shows, including like the top prize. And this year in particular, this is the first time that 2 musicals are nominated for Best Picture. The last time that happened was in 1968 with Oliver and Funny Girl. I love those kinds of stats. But, look, for anyone saying like, oh, well, we're hypocrites or whatever, we have to point out that, look, I mean, this was a front runner. I mean, a lot of people on Gold Derby were predicting that Emilia Perez would win Best Picture. I still had Anora, and I'm keeping Anora at the top right now after all this. But how does this not have an effect on, like I said, not just Best Picture, but all the other nominations? Go ahead, Perry.
Just to bring up one more point to respond to Thrashed Fingers, because I do think like one of the greatest things we do, not here on FYC where we're only predicting likely Oscar winners, but just elsewhere where like we're film critics, is the fact that like it's a discourse that involves so many different people from so many different backgrounds and experiences. And while I might react to something one way, I love hearing somebody else's opinion who is coming from a different place than I am. And I love hearing them out. And that's how opinions on movies evolve. There's certain things that maybe my brain wouldn't pick up on. And then I hear someone else criticizing it and I can turn to them and say, I get why you feel that way. I still can't take back the fact that like, I really liked the movie at TIFF. I was invigorated by it. I liked its energy, but I also very much understand all the criticism that the movie has faced since.
Yeah, I agree. You know, some of those criticisms, Perri, are criticisms I didn't realize until they were brought up by the trans community or by the Spanish community. And I just, you know, because I don't live in Mexico, I don't know. And, you know, this is how you get educated on things that you don't understand. But, you know, these resurfaced tweets, and it's not just like one tweet that got taken out of context. Like, it's like tweet after tweet after tweet where she went to town. And it's like, you can't like apologize for maybe one tweet for taking out of context, but for a bunch of different things and say, I'm so sorry for people I hurt. Well, you like went at it again and again and again. How do you apologize for that?
I just loved how she insulted every minority you can think of, and all the white guy film critics were like, her apology is not good enough for me.
Yeah.
Again, these awards are not for the best people. I know everyone wants to think that every celebrity that they see on the big screen is an angel. It's not best saint. It's best performance. And I really just don't think, I know that they do, but I don't think that tweets should really play into the conversation of who should get an award for acting.
Well, also, you know, go ahead, Perri. Sorry.
No, I do. While I do understand where you're coming from, Jeff, I do think that when you bestow this kind of honor on a person, it can be reflective of, you know, whether or not you're going to support certain behavior that is very much in the public eye. And I do think having that stage is a very important opportunity, and having that award in your hand and like what it means something. I feel like
I get it. You don't think they should platform her.
I don't think that, I mean, I can't start naming off a whole bunch of other examples, but in this particular case, it doesn't feel like something you could separate at all.
But let's just say, like the guy who wrote Green Book, right? Vallelonga also had some crazy tweets. He still won. Let's be clear.
Right. Good point. Right. Good point. And there was
I just pull up a couple of super chats very briefly, just so we don't have to come back to them later, because they pertain to this particular conversation.
Sure, Perri.
There's three of them. Mike Joyce, Bigger Shock, Carlos Tweets, or Stu Lives. We also have Ralph. Do you all think the negative discourse around Carla's old tweets will trickle down and affect Best Picture as well as the other categories?
I think we're all saying that it's out of the question as far as a win. And it's going to affect, you know, other things moving up the ballot, you know, taking its place.
Cisco also said between Carla's tweets and Jack's comments about Spanish-speaking countries, Emilia Perez deserves nothing and needs to go 0 for 3.
I just want to point out, Cisco, so back when Power of the Dog was nominated, I think for 12 Oscars, won 1 for director Jane Campion, and that was like a career Oscar. I just, you know, going into this like award season after seeing, you know, all the movies at the fall film festivals and so on, I felt like Emilia Perez is what was the best chance that Netflix had to finally get that Best Picture Oscar. And it's not just like it's like one thing or two things. It's like a lot of stuff now against this movie. And I just want to point out, Naeem Mohammed correctly pointed out that I bet Jeff $20 that Tim Fellbaum would get nominated for Best Director for September 5th. So thank you, Naeem, for pointing that out. And yes, Jeff, I owe you $20, so it's a wash. Yeah, I think we're even.
Mance, because you just brought up Tim, can I tell you something I did at Sundance that'll make you very happy?
Yeah, sure.
I did one Collider Forces episode while I was there, and it was for John Magaro.
Excellent!
I saw you post
September 5, and the movie he had premiering at Sundance, it's called Omaha. And it's so good.
It's so good. It's so devastating. It's a beautiful, beautiful film.
Again, I just really want to reiterate, because I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about future years too, since this is going to happen again. I just really don't think we should get into the whole, well, this person tweeted this and this person said this, and so their movie doesn't deserve awards attention. That's not how movies work. That's not the point of this. It's not best tweet.
Jeff, you're right to the extent that the movie should speak for itself, that the performance should speak for itself.
But the PR campaign matters. I get it.
Right. That's not how the game is played. All right. So let's.
I also think in some cases the two shouldn't be separated.
Okay.
I always separate the art from the artist. I know I can do that easily, and other people struggle to do it. That's a personal thing.
Listen, I'm with you. I over the years, just being in this business, especially reviewing movies and punditing the Oscars and all the Emmys and all that stuff, I have definitely learned how to separate the art from the artist. The only time I was not able to do that was Mel Gibson. Back in 2004, when he, just went to town on the Jews, when he was drunk at Moon Shadows, which doesn't even exist.
Hey, maybe Carlo will wind up in Mel's next movie.
Well, it's got to be better than Flight
Risk 2.
Flight Risk was awful. Anyway, all right. So Perri, I'm going to say to you now, what is your number one pick to win Best Picture, and why is it going to win?
I am standing my ground on Wicked. And I think with each passing day, it is looking more and more likely, given some things that come up about other films that lessen its chances. I also think I will have to repeat what I've been saying for weeks. The benefit it gets from the preferential ballot is undeniable. There is no doubt in my mind that more voters will put Wicked towards the top of that list than even, let's say, a movie like The Brutalist, which I would imagine is going to be at the tippy top of some lists, but then also it's going to be at the bottom of some lists. So I think the way that voting system works heavily favors Wicked. It is still my number one.
Jeff, where is Wicked on your list to win Best Picture?
4.
Okay. And why do you think it'll? Why do you think
okay, why it will win, why it won't win. I think it would win because everybody loved it, and it also had, and this is really important, it has the year's best ending.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It has the year's best ending. Why it won't? It's an expensive musical. It kind of had every advantage in this race. I don't think it sort of shows the level of scrappiness that The Brutalist does or something like that. And it's also, even though it felt complete, which I will give it credit for, it's still it's a half a story. So they may want to wait until number 2 to reward it if those rewards are actually coming.
Yeah. Perri, if it makes you feel any better today, on a day when you're, not feeling that great, I too have Wicked at number 1 because for the same reasons.
Wow.
I mean, look, I really think that the preferential balloting system is going to work in Wicked's favor. I think that after a really difficult year and a really difficult time right now, that people want something to make them kind of feel good, to distract them from just so many things, whether it's the fires here in LA or just the divide in the entire country. And also, so that's why I think it will win. But the last movie to win Best Picture without even getting nominated for Best Director and Screenplay. You ready for this? You got to go all the way back to 1932's The Grand Hotel. That was the last time a movie won Best Picture without Best Director, which without Best Director, Coda won without Best Director nomination. So did Green Book. And of course, Argo. Ben Affleck wasn't nominated. But, I think that the problem is that it wasn't nominated for director or screenplay. But then again, they didn't have preferential balloting and 10 nominations back in 1930. Or maybe they did have 10 nominations.
I just think that's so easy. Like, the political climate sucks and there are fires. And so thus we're going to choose a feel-good movie. I don't know if I buy that logic.
Well, I feel like the feel-good thing has been something I've been saying for months. Since I saw Wicked. All right. So Jeff, what is your number 1 movie to win Best Picture?
I think it's still The Brutalist.
Okay. And why?
The Brutalist represents how this industry wants to see itself. and it even represents something like the artist being abused and someone always trying to keep the artist down, which I think a lot of people will relate to. I think that some people will think it's a little uneven, and that the first half plays stronger. I think that there is that argument that some people may not watch it due to the length. That's fair. That may be a drawback as to why it doesn't win.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I think it's the pretty clear favorite.
All right, Perri, do you think there are things that will hold back The Brutalist from winning Best Picture?
I do. The Brutalist is my number 3 right now. I think it has a good chance. It's fairly high up on my list. That is also another movie that in this season of like campaigning with like negativity popping up everywhere has been impacted by that a little, not nearly to the extent as Emilia Perez, but there is already like a little drawback on top of that. As I've been saying since the day we started talking about The Brutalist, as much as I want to have faith that every single member of the Academy sits there and watches a 300-hour, geez, I can't talk today, 3.5-hour film with like maximum intensity and like full focus, I don't have faith in that being the case. And I do think that's going to hurt its chances in this particular category, but I don't necessarily think it's going to hurt its chances in the crafts category. Corey.
I agree with that. Also, I mean, look, Perri, I think that The Brutalist is the sort of the front runner to win Best Director. And I think that this is going to be a year where up until a few days ago, I felt like this was going to be a year where Best Picture and Best Director were going to go to different movies. The Brutalist being Best Director and probably Emilia Perez being Best Picture. That only changed in case of Best Picture. I still think that Brady Corbet is going to win Best Director. And look, I mean, The Brutalist won the Venice Film Festival Silver Lion, Best Director, 3 Golden Globe wins, Best Picture Drama, Best Director, and Best Actor for Adrian Brody. It's nominated for Producers Guild and BAFTA. It did not get nominated for a SAG cast ensemble movie, which is fine. I mean, go ahead.
I just love all the people melting down about AI in the comments as if like hundreds, if not 1,000 people didn't work on The Brutalist like really fucking hard. They used they hit a button for 2 seconds and everyone's like, all the work done for The Brutalist, irrelevant. They used AI for 2 seconds.
Even if that is the case, whenever something pops up that is deemed negative during the campaign process, if someone just reads a headline and a couple of tweets, it could impact how they think they should feel about something.
I just thought we would have
necessarily digging deep.
I thought we would have cultivated a smarter viewership.
Well, I do think that all the talk about Emilia Perez is taking talk away from the AI factor of The Brutalist. And I don't think the AI controversy on The Brutalist, it's just much ado about nothing. I mean, like Jeff pointed out, there's so many other factors that go into a great movie.
It felt like a smear campaign.
My number 1 movie, or my number 2 movie rather, because my number 1 is Wicked. My number 2 movie is Anora. And I think that could be bumped up to number 1. I mean, by the end of the conversation or the next time we talk about the predictive winners here. I love Anora to pieces. 6 Oscar nominations, winner of the top prize, the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. The last time a movie won the top prize at Cannes and went on to win the top prize at the Oscars. Famously, we'll never forget it because we had a really juicy bet here on FYC, was obviously Parasite. But before that, you have to go back to the mid-50s when Marty won the Palme d'Or and then won the Oscar for Best Picture. Anora is 7 BAFTA nominations. It was nominated for Golden Globe, Producers Guild, BAFTA Best Picture, SAG cast nomination. I mean, I love it to pieces. I just think the only thing going against Anora is that it might be too raunchy for some Academy voters, which, even though it's gotten bigger and diversified, it still has a lot of older people who might think it's a little too raunchy. But Jeff, why is Anora going to lose Best Picture?
It's going to lose Best Picture because it's not Best Picture material, because it's not weighty enough.
weighty. Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. Perri, why is Anora going to win Best Picture?
I think I highly disagree with that, but I also would need a more in-depth definition of weighty before I say that with full confidence. But Mans, I'm wondering how long we'll continue to have the same list, because Anora is my number 2.
Yeah.
And
wow.
as of just a couple of weeks ago, Anora had fallen a good deal on my list, but it seems to be weaving through the season without any major issue. I do think they really need to start making more noise with that campaign, though.
Great.
That's one that came out the gate real hot and then felt like it faded away. It's one of my favorite movies on this list personally. I've watched it quite a few times. It gets stronger every single time. And for what it's worth, I do think the entire movie carries weight, but that gut punch ending is also one of the best endings that I've seen all year. And I think with each passing day, Anora is in better and better shape in this particular category.
You know, to go back to what your comment was about campaigning, I think generally, as I'm sure you both know, that everyone's just trying to figure out how to move forward and do their jobs at a time when thousands of people in LA lost their homes because of the fires. And, you know, we had the Fire Aid concert last night, which was incredible. And, you know, the Oscar nominees luncheon was canceled, and a lot of the money that was going to go to that was donated to fire relief. So with regards to campaigning, like, this is it. The next 3 weeks it's like the make or break point. But I think all the studios and streamers and award strategists are trying to figure out how to do that while being disrespectful and not tone deaf to what's going on in the city and in the industry. But at the same time, you know, so many people make most of their money and most of their income during the 3 months of award season. And to stop doing that completely would just make things much more difficult for a lot of people. So I don't know what the fine line is here, but I do agree that they need to step up that campaign a little bit to make Anora more noise. All right, Jeff, what's next on your list that we haven't gotten to yet?
Emilia Perez.
Well, I think we talked that movie to death, but if you got something else to say it.
Well, where is it on your list now?
Number 3.
Number 3. So your number 1 is Brutalist. What's your number 2?
Anora.
Anora's your number 2. Okay.
Anora.
We all have Anora at number 2.
Yeah, Anora, I think, stands a really good chance to win because of the preferential ballot, and I do think it's the best movie nominated for Best Picture. Not the best picture winner. I think The Brutalist would make a better winner, but I think Anora is technically a little bit of a better movie.
I think Anora's my favorite movie of the year, but I think that Wicked is still my number 1 to win Best Picture. In other words, you know, there are some years where the best movie of the year actually legit did win the Oscar for Best Picture, like Parasite. Absolutely, that was the best movie of the year. Argo, absolutely, that was the best movie of the year. Return of the King, absolutely the best movie of the year. I love Coda, even though a lot of people don't, but I really thought that was the best movie of that year, which was a very unusual year because of the pandemic. But all right, Perri, what's next on your list?
My number 3 is The Brutalist.
Okay, 3 is The Brutalist. Okay.
Yeah. So do you want a new one from me?
Yes, I do.
My number 4 is a movie that I think has been on the rise for like all of 2025 thus far, and doing admittedly far better than I ever predicted it would on the circuit. It's A Complete Unknown.
Yeah.
And I think that's only going to continue. I've seen, you know, a lot of folks poking fun at the current situation on social media, saying like, look at all the negativity that's happening. And there's like Timmy Chalamet just dancing it up and having a good time and radiating positivity. So I do actually think that kind of encapsulates the vibe of that movie this particular year. And I think it's going to wind up doing quite well this season.
Well, first of all, A Complete Unknown, 8 Oscar nominations. All right. And the fact that James Mangold got nominated for Best Director, not only for the Directors Guild, but also for the Academy, 5 nominees, and he made the cut, speaks volumes about the strength of A Complete Unknown, which, by the way, I mean, I absolutely love the movie. I mean, it's totally my kind of jam. No pun intended, because it's, it's still in its 60s. I love what James Mangold did with A Complete Unknown. I was a big fan of Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash, June Carter movie. I mean, I think he's a great director. I love Ford Ferrari, and
Okay, this movie's going 0 for 8, Scott. We can move it along.
All right. What about you, Jeff? Why is A Complete Unknown not going to win?
It's a 2-hour concert film. I mean, too much singing, too mysterious, too obtuse, doesn't answer any questions about Bob Dylan. I have it number 7. It's not a threat to win at all.
Well, that's why it's called A Complete Unknown. Just saying. All right, Perri, I'm curious, where is Conclave on your list?
Conclave has dropped down to number 5. I'm very concerned by the Edward Berger snub, and I feel like that is weighing quite heavily on my mind in terms of Conclave's chances, in general, but in particular in this category. I think missing out on there might speak to the wide-ranging support or lack thereof. So it has dropped quite a bit for me.
Look, I have Conclave at number 4 on my list, and even without the Best Director nomination for Berger, again, because of the 10 nominees and because of the preferential ballot, I think it's not a deal breaker for a movie to not get nominated for Best Director. In the last few years, obviously Anora did not get nominated for Best Director. But I'm sorry, not Anora. Sorry, Coda did not get nominated for Best Director, Sean Heder, but it won all 3 awards, all 3 Oscars that it was nominated for, which was Picture, Original Screenplay, and Supporting Actor. So, but I also have been saying, for months now, I feel like Conclave is like the safest movie to get behind. You know what I mean? Like it's not controversial. The screenplay is terrific, and I think a Best Adapted Screenplay is definitely a front runner for this movie. But I just think with the costume design and just how smart and thought through it is, and I do love the ending. I didn't see it coming, and I think it works. Jeff, why is Conclave not winning Best Picture?
International voters will consider it too controversial.
Really? You think so? That? I don't know why.
Listen, sometimes I have to pull reasons out of my ass on this show because it's just quite clear that Conclave was nobody's number 1 movie of the year. I do think that it will perform well on the preferential ballot, and it is one of those movies that's going to get bumped up with when Emilia Perez goes down. But what do you want me to say? This is an airport novel. This is a little pot boiler. This is not a Best Picture winner.
Hey, Delia Productions, how does Mance keep his eyebrows black? I don't know, man. It's hereditary. It's definitely runs in the family. My dad went prematurely gray. My brother went prematurely gray. But we all kept our dark eyebrows. And
Scott, you look amazing.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. So wait, Jeff, where is Conclave on your list?
I have it at 5 as well.
Okay. All right. So Perri, what do you got next? Wait, no. Jeff, what do you got next?
Oh shit. Dune.
Dune. All right. Yeah, Dune's next on my list too.
A sci-fi masterpiece that improved upon the original. On the downside, it's just a blockbuster, and voters could wait until the next movie, which I heard is shaping up to be wild.
The next Dune, really? Oh, okay. Well, I have Dune at number 7 on my list. Perri, where do you have it, and why is it losing?
Dune's my number 8. It's losing because of the same thing I've been saying all along. It's just too far in the rear view mirror, and I do really believe this franchise, or like this iteration of the film franchise, its time will come. Its time just isn't now.
Yeah, and look, I've been saying this a long time as well. I think Denis Villeneuve is equal to Academy Award winner Christopher Nolan when it comes to just being one of the very, very greatest directors working today. Every movie he does is good or great, not a dud in the bunch. But I just think that, when Dune Part 2 got moved from 2023 to 2024 because of the writers and actors strike, and they had to push it back, taking it out of contention where it probably would have lost against Oppenheimer. Now it was released in end of February, beginning of March, and it was a while ago. It did make $700 million worldwide. Was the highest grossing movie of the year for a while. But I love Denis Villeneuve. I love Arrival, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies ever, but it's not doesn't have a chance for Best Picture. All right, Perry, what's next on your list?
I believe that brings me to my number 6, and that is where I have Emilia Perez right now. But I also think there's a future where it will drop below my number 7.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's next after that? Let's get
After that is The Substance. I think that's another movie that every single step of the way, its chances go up and up and up and up. And personally, I look forward to seeing that continue.
Yes, agree. The Substance. Okay, Perry, The Substance got 5 Oscar nominations. What strong nominations that movie got. Picture, director, the only female directors that get nominated, original screenplay. And what an original screenplay that is. Demi Moore, who won the Golden Globe and gave a killer speech that actually could have put her at the top here, where the only reason I don't think she's a lock is because, Fernanda Torres is doing exceptionally well for Best Actress. Her movie got nominated for Best Picture. We'll get to that. Jeff, I sat right next to you at the Wilshire screening room at 8670 Wilshire Boulevard, and you were sitting on the end. I was one seat in. We were in the third row, and I kept looking over at you throughout that movie, including at the very end where you and I just looked at each other and go, this ending is just too much. Why is The Substance not going to win Best Picture?
Too divisive, too genre-y. Again, I mean, this movie went further than anyone ever thought it possible.
Yep.
And it's still in the mix for a couple of these awards that it's up for. But I think that Best Picture is a bridge too far, and it is just a little too divisive and too horror-y.
For what it's worth, in my limited world, this is the only place I ever hear about The Substance being divisive. Everywhere else,
you guys, you're I don't know what you wanted.
Maximum enthusiasm for body horror being this good and this widely beloved, and I think it needed that batshit ending in order to stick the landing.
Yeah, the ending. I've seen the movie. I saw it again when it opened in theaters, and I watched it again. On one of the producers app or the CCA app, one of those apps, and I still love the film. I sort of just watch the end and I just go, God, if only they had just pulled back a little bit from that ending without it going too far. But I still think the movie is a practical masterpiece. All right, Jeff, what's next on your list?
Again, I just wish I could show you guys the text messages from my entire family, both brothers and my dad. I got them all to watch The Substance. They said you're crazy, and whoever made this is crazy.
I'll show you texts from my family, and they all love this.
Adopt me, Perry. I want to be part of your family.
Me too. I met your dad, Perry.
Nemiroffs, it's fine.
And when Shari Nemiroff retweets one of my tweets, it's it's the greatest feeling in the world. So
the first, always the first.
All right. All right then. Jeff, what's next on your list to win?
Number 9, I've got I'm Still Here. It seems like everyone who sees this movie falls for it, and I do think that international voters could rally behind it in the wake of Emilia Perez's downfall. On the downside, not enough people feels like they've seen it, and that includes myself.
Well, so I'm Still Here was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, and International Feature. I felt like up until a few days ago, Emilia Perez was most likely going to be the front runner for international feature, and now that could change. And again, these are strong nominations for I'm Still Here. But Perry, I know you love the film as well. Why do you think it will win, and why do you think it won't?
I actually also have it at number 9. And the only reason at this point that I have it, or the main reason at least, that I have it this low down on this particular list is because I do think it's going to be our winner in international feature. And I think if it gets that, its likelihood of getting this is far slimmer. And I also think Fernanda has a real chance of winning Best Actress. So I think its support is going in those directions and not here.
Yes, I agree. Man, Best Actress, That would be huge. I mean, look, Demi Moore is a legend. I mean, this was her first nomination. She just absolutely crushed it in The Substance. But if you watch I'm Still Here, when you watch that performance, I mean, she's in every scene of the movie, whereas Demi Moore is not. It switches back and forth between Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, whereas I'm Still Here, it's all her. And then the end of that film, without spoiling anything, it's so emotional. It just gets you right in the heart.
I gotta say, it's so funny to me that the two of you think that Wicked is going to win Best Picture, and yet neither one of you this episode has once mentioned the name Cynthia Erivo.
Okay, we'll mention it now. Cynthia Erivo. Yeah. Look, she's also a front runner to win Best Actress. I mean, she's great in Cynthia Erivo's great in the movie. I mean, she first of all, she already has not one but two other Oscar nominations for Best Actress and Best Original Song for Harry. And Jeff, you talked about the ending of Wicked being the best part of the movie. It's the best part of the movie because of Cynthia Erivo.
And exactly, and that's why. So we've talked about The Substance. We're talking about I'm Still Here Now and Torres. Obviously, everything with Carla. We haven't talked about why can't Cynthia be the one who wins now with Carla?
Well, we're not talking about Best Actress.
For what it's worth, I haven't mentioned Demi's name. I haven't mentioned Mikey's name. The only reason I brought up Fernanda is because I do think that the movie's rising chances in other categories directly impact its chance in the category we're covering today. But I got a lot to say about Best Actress when that time comes.
Fair enough. We'll save it.
Fair enough. All right. Perri, what's last? Last on the list here.
Honestly, I can't remember where we left off. My six is Emilia Perez. My 7 is The Substance. My 8 is Dune Part 2. My 9 is I'm Still Here, and then my 10 is Nickel Boys.
Nickel Boys. All right. Why do you think it'll win?
Oh, win?
Yeah.
I can come up with an answer to that. This is like a definitive case to me of like the nomination is the win. I'm very happy to see it here, but in general, I think it underperformed overall at the Oscars. Again, getting a Best Picture nomination is a very big deal, and I don't want to diminish that. But there were other categories that I thought it had a good chance of getting into that it did not.
Yeah.
I just don't think things are going in the right direction for this one as far as wins go.
There are a few movies that I really felt like should have had more of a presence at the overall Oscar nominations. Nickel Boys is one. Obviously, September 5 is another. And then the other is A Real Pain. I really was hoping that A Real Pain and September 5 would have made the cut for Best Picture, but it's 10 nominees. Jeff, why will Nickel Boys win, and why won't it win?
It will win because the black vote could lift it up. I mean, I don't know what the percentages are again in the Academy and how much of the Academy is black. But if every black voter put that movie at number 1, is that not a path to victory?
Right.
So don't discount the black vote as far as why, and critics love it. It's obviously a critical darling as well. As to why it won't win, it's just very divisive and too small.
All right, let's take some super chats there, Perri Nemiroff.
You got it. All right. Jumping back to the ones we didn't get to from earlier. Ewok is here. Best Picture is tough to predict this year. I will probably go with the PGA winner as it's the only other group to use the preferential ballot system.
Lazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everyone, I'm just going to go with whatever wins PGA. Well, if it was only that simple every year.
Precursors can be important, though. If you got to lean on something, this isn't a bad thing to lean on. Ewok also said, I liked most of this year's nominees, but honestly, Dune 2 is in a completely different league from the other films. I would love to see it win in an upset.
That'd be a hell of an upset, Ewok, but
disagree.
Don't bet the house on it.
All right, we got someone from Germany here. Huge fan of your show. Love it every single year from start to finish. I would love for Anora to win. My favorite of 2024 by far. Also love The Apprentice, but why was Femme shut out?
Femme.
Not an awards movie. Didn't get seen by enough people. But Anora really has a chance, Quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Very much agree with that. We've got Jordan. I'm still holding on for Anora. Also love you guys, and I hope you're all doing well.
Thank you for the donation, Jordan. Appreciate the support.
Next up is Will. I'll be okay if Wicked, Brutalist, or Anora wins. If Emilia Perez wins, I may not watch next year, and I haven't missed a second of the Oscars since 1992.
There is a book that I read over the last year. It's called Oscar Wars. It's written by Michael Schulman, and it takes over the years certain awards for Best Picture where things just got very juicy during the Oscar campaigning. For example, in 2016 with La La Land and Moonlight with The Envelope. In 1998, the best chapter of all is the chapter written on the battle between Saving Private Ryan and Shakespeare in Love. I mean, like that chapter alone is worth buying the book for. If this guy ever does a revision of this book, he's got to include this year, with all the stuff with Emilia Perez. I mean, there's just so much going on with this movie. It's just, it's like, can't even wrap my head around it, but it's none of it's good. I mean, it's really a shame.
What did you say the title of that book was?
It's called Oscar Wars.
Okay.
It's excellent. Perry, you should definitely
put that on the list. I'm on the hunt for a new audiobook, so maybe that's the next one I'll go to.
Trust the Mance.
All right. Hi, all. Hope you are doing well. Oh, especially Perry. I'm from Latin America, and since December, Emilia Perez has been criticized, especially for its racist and transphobic connotations. I hope Conclave, a movie that I think represents much better the LGBT community and also a really great movie, has some recognition at the Oscars. I'm going to pull this away just so we can see Jeff's beautiful face. Thank you for the super chat.
I think Conclave's best chances for a win are for best adapted screenplay, but it's I would not rule it out for a best picture win because of what we had talked about before.
I'm not ruling it out for best actor either.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, good point.
All right, Anora and Conclave might be the spotlight of this year. Best picture and screenplay.
Great point there, Indrano. Very, very good point.
Scott Nemiroff, Jeff Nemiroff, and Perri Nemiroff.
I like that. I'm changing my name to Scott Nemiroff.
Jeff Nemiroff is a good name.
A good name. It's a great name.
The double F's.
For what it's worth, I don't think we have any Scotts and Jeffs in the family, so you can own that combination. I feel like now there's like a Scott or a Jeff somewhere that I've completely forgotten about, and they're like,
right, your cousin Scott's gonna be like, "What the fuck, Perry?
I don't think I
was at your bat mitzvah."
Probably. Chance of ACU. I'm a complete unknown winning best picture, best director, best actor.
Of ACU.
About as good a chance of me going home with Zoe Saldana that night.
Yeah, Mike, I like where your head's at, buddy. That'll be awesome. But yeah, I think to win all three of those is not likely.
Yeah, very unlikely for me as well. How often do bummer ending films win? Anora never had her moment in the film. Oh, I think she had her moment.
Bummer moments in films. Well, I think Godfather and Godfather 2 have bummer endings. It's typical. It's Brokeback Mountain is another one that's just stat. Oh, that's right. It didn't win. That's right, Jeff. It did not win. It went to Crash that year.
I know a movie that had a bummer ending that won.
What's that?
American Beauty.
American Beauty is excellent. I love that movie. 1999, baby. The best year of movies.
Protagonist gets killed at the end.
Yeah. All right. No,
I just ruined it for everyone.
All right.
I'm just kidding. That's it. We have. Wait, let me just check the main chat because sometimes they take a quick minute to file over. I think we are caught up. Yep, we are all good.
We're all good. Well, thank you for everyone watching this episode of the FYC Live. We certainly had a lot to talk about with this one, and thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your super chats donations, which, like we said, is going to wildfire relief. Make sure you subscribe to Perri Nemiroff's channel. Just scroll right down right now and hit subscribe. Make sure you head over to theinsnyder.com to see where Jeff Snyder is breaking news left and right.
I've got a scoop, a big one. I got a big tip this morning. And Scott, stay after when we sign off, and I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, okay. This is what I love about theinsnyder.com. You can also check out Jeff's other show with my really great friend, Johnny Roca, on John Roca's YouTube channel. It's called The Hot Mic. You can catch me some mornings and evenings on KTLA 5 in Los Angeles. Make sure you share FYC across all of your social media platforms. So for those of you who have not yet had a chance to discover FYC, you can discover why the three of us are the most informed and certainly the most fun and enthusiastic Oscar pundits in the biz. And make sure you join us for the next episode of FYC. And until next time, you know the drill. FY.
See you later.
Later.